Hello everyone, how's it going? And welcome to today's Wildrift video on patch 4.4. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's video with the items and all the item changes. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the dragons and the updates to dragons that are happening in Wildrift patch 4.4. We have a lot to go through in this video. I'm going to be telling you about the new Dragon Soul. I'm going to be telling you about dragons not stacking anymore. There's only one stat now for every single dragon, and so much more. So the first thing we're going to talk about is dragon stacking. There's no more dragon stacking left anymore in Wild Rift. And what I mean by that is that each dragon buff is now only going to have one stat, and that's it. So normally what happens in Wild Rift at the moment in the live server is when you get the Infernal Dragon, for example, you get 3% attack damage and ability power. You then slay the next dragon, like Ocean Dragon, and that 3% will go up to 6%. And you'll see the screenshots in just a second. I did all these screenshots and everything off stream, so I can talk about it actually in the video. But you can see the Dragon Heart in the top right. So top left, sorry. So Dragon Heart, after the team defeats one elemental dragon, each elemental dragon slain will increase all current dragon buffs by 100%. That is no longer going to be a thing in Wild Rift patch 4.4. So you can see an example here. So Dragon Hunter level 1. Basically, when you slain a mountain dragon, you get 3% armor and 2% magic resist. But if you slain a second dragon, that goes up to 6% and 4%. You slain a third dragon, and that goes up to 12% and 8%, like you can see in the screenshot in the bottom left hand corner. So in the bottom left hand corner, me slaying 3 dragons, I get the big bonus for Mountain Dragon, the big bonus for Ocean Dragon, and the big bonus from the Ice Dragon. But that is no longer going to be a thing in Wild Rift patch 4.4 when the update comes out in a few weeks time. So the comparison here that I've shown, so you got Dragon Hunter level 1 here, and this is Wild Rift patch 4.4. So Dragon Slayer, and it's just Mountain Dragon, you gain 3 armor and 2 magic resist. And then me going back to the previous screenshot will show the exact same thing for every single one of these dragons. So Infernal Dragon, 3% attack damage and ability power. Ice Dragon, you get 7 ability haste. Mountain Dragon, 3% armor, 2% magic resist. And Ocean Dragon, you're going to get 2% missing health healing, or regenerate 2% missing health every 5 seconds. This will not stack up anymore. For example, if you stay in Infernal Dragon, Ice Dragon, Mountain Dragon, the stats are not going to get increased. You're still only going to get the 3% extra damage, the 7 ability haste, and the little bit of armor and magic resist. That's the only thing you're getting. But to compensate that, we have a new thing coming in, which is Dragon Souls. And we're going to be going through every single Dragon Soul in this video, and I'm going to let you know what it's like, how it's going to affect the game, and how it's going to work. Now, the big thing, you're probably wondering, how is Dragon Souls going to work? Now, the Dragon Soul is dependent on your first dragon that you are going to slay. So in this clip, for example, what I recorded, I slain the Infernal Dragon as my first dragon. So that means I'm going to get the Infernal Soul. So it'll just take me a bit of time to go all through this, but I basically show you all the stats. You can see here I slain 2 dragons, and I still only get the same stats for Infernal Dragon and Ocean Dragon. This is going to mean that dragons in general are going to be a lot weaker, and I mean a lot weaker. The first dragon is probably still going to be okay, but second dragon and third dragon, as long as you deny that triple drake to deny the Dragon Soul, for example, so as long as you get 1 dragon, you don't need to get any other dragon for the rest of the game. It's not worth it at all. So as you can see here, when I killed the third dragon, you heard that little bit of an Infernal Soul sound. So I killed the Ice Dragon here, which is the 3 dragons. So that's your condition. You've slain 3 dragons, and you can see here, allied team has claimed Infernal Soul. So you can see the stats here that I'm getting. Again, it's all still the same base stats. They're not increased. They're not getting scaled up. But now we get a new thing called the Infernal Dragon Soul. Damaging an enemy champion with abilities or attacks grants an explosion of 2.5 radius around the target, dealing adaptive damage, which means AD or AP damage, depending on what you deal manage the most, equal to 110 base damage, plus 20% your bonus AD, and plus 10 ability power. And it does have a 5-second cooldown. You can see the effect here. Basically, when I auto attack or when I use abilities, you're going to be able to see a little bit of an explosion with the Infernal Dragon. And you can see there, so that's the effect of the Infernal Dragon, very similar to what it is, I believe, on PC League of Legends. So that is basically that one, going through that one. So that's Infernal Soul. Next, we're going to be taking a look at, I believe it's a Mountain Soul for this one. So again, it completely depends on whatever the first dragon is. That's the big thing that you want to keep in mind. If the first dragon is Infernal, you'll get Infernal Soul. First dragon is Mountain, you'll get Mountain Soul. First dragon is Ocean, you get Ocean Soul. Ice dragon, Ice Soul. So what basically you can look at the map as well. The map will be a good indication as to what soul you could get if you slain 3 dragons. Now, for example, if one team slains 2 dragons and you only slain 1 dragon, then no one gets the soul. No one is getting the soul at all, and the soul is basically not even going to happen in the game. This doesn't really affect anything with Elder Dragons or anything like that. Elder Dragon is still going to be the same thing. Once all 3 dragons are killed or after a certain time, Elder Dragon will spawn. This is the Mountain Dragon Soul. So after 5 seconds of not taking damage from an enemy champion or turret, you gain a shield that absorbs 210 damage. Now, 210 damage is not going to be a lot. I think the big thing is, as you can see in this clip here, after a few seconds, you just gain the shield straight away, so you don't actually have to do that much. You can see there, you gain a shield when being out of combat for a few seconds. And this can keep refreshing over and over and over again. So even though the shield is not that big, 210 shield, you have to remember at what point of the game you're going to get this shield. You're going to get this shield at very, very late in the stage. 3 dragons is probably normally like, what, 15 minutes into the game, 16 minutes into the game. So a 210 shield is not going to do that much. I definitely much prefer to go for like Infernal, for example, or Infernal Soul compared to the Mountain Soul. This is the Ice Dragon, so this is going to be the Ice Dragon Soul. This soul is going to be interesting because we have to think with Ice Dragon in general, this is a new dragon that came into Wild Rift, and a dragon that was not even in PC League of Legends before. So I bet you're all wondering what this soul is going to be, and obviously me recording this clip, I know what it is, and honestly, it's pretty damn crazy. So we're just going to kill the dragons. I'm just showing you through these clips as well, just so you can see that every single time I tested this and every single time I got the soul, the dragons didn't stack at all. Now look at this. Ice Dragon Soul. Damaging an enemy champion with an attack or ability marks them for a few seconds. Very similar to something like Vladimir Ultimate, Zed Ultimate, for example. And when the mark disappears after 3 seconds, they are slowed briefly. I was going to say slowly briefed. Okay, slowed briefly, and they take bonus true damage equal to 10% of the damage they take whilst marked. So it's pretty much a Z ultimate with an inbuilt slow. So everyone gets a Z ultimate where if you're like an assassin, you jump in with Evelyn, you do a bunch of damage, you're then going to deal that little bit of tick damage afterwards. And it's based on 10% of the damage that they take whilst they've been marked. And you can see the test that I'm going to do here as well. You can see that when I do a little bit of damage, you can see that there's a little bit of an ice, and you hear that effect. That hearing effect is basically the true damage. So that little bit of true damage afterwards. I show you the effect of like using abilities and everything as well. You can see it. It works on abilities. It works on auto attacks. And you have to keep an eye out for that little tiny ice mark. You see that little ice mark on the target dummy? That shows that you have the passive on the target dummy. So you see here, I'm just going to pause it right here. This little mark here that you're seeing, this shows that the Ice Soul is on a target. Now, this only works on the first champion you hit. This won't work with AoE abilities, and it won't do multiple champions. It's always going to be the first enemy champion you hit. So you can't do so like crazy Fiddlesticks ultimate, for example. You can't do anything too crazy with this. It's just going to be the first enemy you hit. You're going to mark them. After a few seconds, they're going to be slowed, and they're also going to take true damage equal to 10%. So for example, if you do 1,000 damage in that 3 seconds, you're going to do 100 true damage, and etc, etc, etc. You can work it out for yourself. 100 damage, you're only going to do 10 damage. 500 damage, you're only going to do 50 damage, etc, etc. I think this soul is going to be very, very powerful. Imagine if you're against someone like an Evelyn or even a Zed, for example, that already has a mark. You can mark someone by jumping in as an assassin, mark them for a few seconds, do a whole bunch of burst damage, and even if they survive, they can still take the tick damage afterwards and be slowed, and they could still die from the true damage. So this is going to be one of the most annoying dragon souls to deal with out of all 4 of them. It's definitely going to be the most difficult Dragon Soul to deal with. But again, it's pretty cool. It's very similar to, I guess, Infernal Soul, but Infernal Soul, Mountain Soul, and Ocean Soul are very similar to what it is on PC League of Legends. Like I said, the big one that a lot of you are probably wondering when you first got into this video is how is the Ice Dragon Soul going to work? Because that's not a dragon in PC League of Legends. This is the Ocean one, again, doing the same thing, killing all the dragons. The first dragon is Ocean, being able to, you know, kill all the dragons pretty quickly here. I might skip a little bit forward so you can see exactly what the Ocean Soul is. I don't want to waste too much of your time. But again, you can see here, the big thing to note from this little video is that dragons no longer stack. So stacking dragons is no longer good. Like you don't want to prioritize dragon as much as like Rift Herald, for example. And this is the Ocean Soul. Now, this Ocean Soul can be a little bit confusing, but you'll see in a second how it works. So you recover health equal to a base amount plus your bonus AD plus AP plus 6% of your bonus health. Now it is within 4 seconds of damaging an enemy champion with attacks or abilities. So this Ocean Soul doesn't work out of combat. You have to actually be in combat to be able to heal up over time. So it basically works a bit like Omnivamp, but it doesn't work on the damage that you deal. It just works on a flat amount and obviously your stats and everything. So you'll see here, when I take damage, I'm not going to get healed at all from the Ocean Soul. The only way I'm going to get healed by the Ocean Soul is by auto attacking, as you can see, and using abilities. Again, though, the healing amount does not depend on how much damage you deal. It just depends on if you're in combat and if you're out of combat. If you're in combat, then great, you're going to heal up over a little bit of time. You can see that little bit of projectile of healing going towards Fiddlesticks. The healing is based on a base amount plus your bonus AD plus your ability power and plus your bonus health. So the tanks are going to be healing that little bit more. But that is pretty much everything. Just a bit of a recap. Obviously, dragon stacking, no longer a thing. You can't stack dragons anymore. So if you get only 1 dragon throughout the whole game, you're only going to get 1 stat. 2 dragons throughout the whole game, you're only going to get the same base stats as what you can see on screen. So again, in my opinion, dragons are going to be a lot weaker than what they are at the moment in the live server for Wild Rift, because each individual dragon is not giving you as much stats as what it did before. But again, if you can reach up to that Dragon Soul and if you can get triple dragon, then some of the Dragon Souls look very, very strong. I think Infernal and Ice Dragon Soul are going to be very powerful. Ocean Soul is probably going to be pretty decent, even though most people are going to probably build anti-heal since the change of the items. And Mountain Soul, I don't think is going to be too powerful. But again, the big ones are Infernal and definitely Ice Dragon. That is a big thing. No more ice, no more dragon stacking, nothing like that. None of this Dragon Hunter, you know, getting up to, you know, 8% missing health every 5 seconds, or no more 28 ability haste. There's just one flat value for every single dragon, and it doesn't matter how many you kill, you're always going to get that flat amount. So hopefully you enjoyed this little run through of the dragons. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this. There's things like new minions that are coming in and changes to minions. There's also a few skins as well that I'll have access to very, very soon that I'll be able to cover. But I thought I covered dragons in this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments as well. I'm very curious what you think of this new dragon setup down in the comments. Let me know, and I'll see you all in the next Wilder video. Peace.